I hitched up to Horseshoe Meadows. Tomorrow I'm going to start from Cottonwood Lakes trailhead and go up to Cottonwood Lakes, and then the next day, if I feel good, if the altitude hasn't gotten me too bad, I'm going to go up to Langley, and then I might try my hand at a little off travel trail down into Soldier Lakes Basin and possibly up to Miter Basin, depending on how I feel. And then I'll continue on to Rock Creek, Crabtree, Guitar, and over Mt Whitney. I plan to be out about 5 days. All of these plans are changeable depending on how I feel. So if I don't feel that great, I'll skip Langley. If I don't feel that great, I'll skip Binder Basin. Kind of just have a lot on the menu to choose from, and I like to plan it that way because then I can go with the wind. Night one in the backpackers camp at the Cottonwood Lakes trailhead. Hey, good morning. I slept like a rotisserie chicken last night. Not that good, but hopefully I sleep better tonight after hiking. It's so quiet out here. I haven't seen another person yet. I got a later start. I didn't start hiking till 8 o'clock, but I don't have very far to go, and my goal is to keep my heart rate low so that the altitude doesn't get me today. But it's so pretty and calm out here. I'm really looking forward to a nice walk. Just met these two really nice gentlemen. One of them was actually the guy who was responsible for identifying that beetle that came to California and killed a lot of the coast live oaks. Came through firewood. So it's a good reminder to not move firewood. So if you're gonna go somewhere and have a campfire, buy your firewood there. Don't bring it from your home. You wanna keep the firewood where it was cut down and burn it there. Don't move it to another location. Ecosystems are fragile and you can introduce some insects that aren't supposed to be there. It can be catastrophic. there's Mt Langley there on the right. Soaking my 11,000 feet and scoping out Old Army Pass, which I'm going to go up tomorrow. Today was really nice. I went really slow, trying to let myself acclimatize to the altitude. Tomorrow I'm going to climb quite a bit. So today was just about keeping my heart rate really low, which I think I did a pretty good job. I got to camp and set up my tent and climbed up to Cottonwood 4th and 5th Lake. And now I'm just sitting here soaking my feet, enjoying the day. It's only about like 3 o'clock. Lots of time left, but it's dark at 7 now, so I'll climb in my tent and watch a movie. One of my favorite things about this area behind Whitney is the foxtail pines. They are a relative of the bristlecones, and they can live up to 3,000 years. And they're just so beautiful. Even when they're dead, they stand and they look twisted from the wind and the weather. They're just really interesting trees, and I love that they can live that old. The bristlecones can live longer, and they live on the other side of the Owens Valley and the White Mountains. And the harshness of the environment over there is probably a testament to why they live longer over there. But it's always so special to come over to this side and get to see them. Topeka, right by my tent. All this great granite, and then every once in a while there's a snowy white chunk of quartz sticking out of the ground. Pretty cool. Good morning from Lake 4. I slept down at like 3 last night and I just climbed up. I'm about to climb over a new army pass, which is back there. So I will find the old trail and walk along the ledge over here. And I've heard some good beta from people that did it in the last couple days and they said it's not too bad. So I'm excited to go try something new. That's where I'm going. You can see the trail go a little bit this way, and then it switchbacks up here. Then you can see it along here, up above this ledge, and pop out right there. I haven't done this one before, and it's technically a closed trail. They don't maintain it anymore. And I've heard there's a couple little spicy spots, but it's totally doable. So I'm gonna go do it. Getting into the rockfall section. I wanted to do this pass because it's no longer maintained. So a few more rough rock falls and it will be impassable probably. There's a little bit of scrambling through the rockfall. And if you're wondering if there's exposure on this trail, lots. There was some crazy spots that I didn't even look down because you go where you look. I'm sitting here and I can see the 3 next carins, and I just tried to climb up those rocks to get there, and it felt really sketchy, especially with my big backpack. And I feel like that's the way to go. And there's a bunch of trails and stuff going around this, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel safe. So I'm gonna sit here for a minute and see if maybe somebody comes down. But I got myself up pretty high a couple of times and got sketched out. So I'm just sitting here. I'm a half a mile from the summit. I'd really like to go up, but not at a super high cost. I ran into a girl that I chatted with earlier this morning, and she was on her way down, and so she directed me to the right way. Otherwise, I was just gonna sit there for a little while and probably head down, but I dropped my pack and turned my brain into a day pack, which it's designed to do, which is super nice. And I'm just heading for the top. I don't think I'm very far away, but look at that view. That's Soldier Lake. I'm gonna go down and camp down there tonight. A little off-trail funness. And then that is all of the horseshoe meadows, Cottonwood Lakes. There we go. All the Cottonwood Lakes. Horseshoe meadows is way off there, but it's really beautiful. I'm confident I'm gonna make it to the top. I don't have very far to go because I'm just gonna camp right there. So when I'm done and ready to go down, I'm just gonna take it easy, and then tomorrow I'll probably take a light day just to kind of recover and regain my strength for Whitney in a couple of days. There's a mylar balloon floating. Don't release balloons into the wild. They don't go to heaven. They fall somewhere and harm animals. There's Mt Whitney. This is the top of Langley. I'll climb up there in a minute.
Take a picture.
Can you see Mason Lake from here?
This one's pretty cool. We should get going.
I know. We're gonna start our camp is set up.
Yeah. I'm not seeing the soon. It's okay, man. Get in the shelter. Cheese tax.
Oh my gosh, every single text is political.
Oh my gosh. You're like, why?
I just want to make sure there wasn't an emergency.
There's always an emergency somewhere.
Well, I got up here, so I'm pretty excited about that. I wasn't sure that I was even going to do the whole thing, and I made it. It's a little bit late in the day, but I don't have very far to go down, and it was nice to come climb a new mountain. So Lone Pine is right down below me. I have a little bit of self-service, so I'm kind of killing a couple minutes to see if my family will call me. But there's Sky Blue Lake down there, and yeah, Mt Whitney right over there. All goes well, I'll be on top of that one in a couple more days. Tuttle Creek down there. first lake on the right is where I camped last night. I camped in the trees just to the left of it. And then when I went out exploring in the evening, I walked up to that meadow with the little circle pond and the larger lake, and that's where I was watching the deer. Those are the Cottonwood Lakes. And then on the other side, you can see Horseshoe Meadows. These are not deer. I would say bighorn sheep, but they don't have very big horns. No offense, guys. So this is the beaten path that I'm going to follow down into Soldier Lakes. I talked to quite a few people today who have done it, and I'm excited to try it. It's not technically a maintained trail, but it should be pretty straightforward. Just walk downhill till you get to the lake. That's what I just came down. And there's Mt Langley up there. What a day. Here's Mt Langley from my camp. So these are the sort of like cliffy things you see near the top. And then right in the middle there is sort of the fall summit, and then to the right is the summit. So I was up there yesterday looking down on my camp, and I made it down. Today's gonna be a short day. I'm gonna head to Rock Creek, probably only like 5.5 miles, and kind of a recovery day, and then tomorrow on to Guitar Lake. A bit of my morning ritual, making coffee, 2 cups at least. There's my tent over there. The lake is on the other side of this rock. I've been choosing campsites without fantastic views of the water just because they're often warmer. So if I can stay a little bit away from the water, then I'm warmer. And it's very cold here this morning, probably in the 30s. There's Mt Langley up there, and there's the way down I took yesterday. This is my pretty sandy meadow with the audience of trees. Trying to find my way down to the lower Soldier Lake. I keep seeing these nice little markers that show me the way. I just had to walk through that maze of willows without a trail, and they were overhead high. It was pretty spicy. Not my favorite. It's a mom and two babies. I startled them. They were in the willows and I walked around the corner and they all jumped and ran. I feel bad. Today's been a really mellow and quiet hike. I haven't seen another person since I left camp. I was at Upper Soldier Lake and I had to do a little weed whacking through the willows to find my way down. There was a trail part of the way, but the rest of the way you just had to kind of make it work. And now I'm down here at Lower Rock Creek Lake, headed to Rock Creek. It's so beautiful out here today, and it is hot actually. Down this low, it's quite hot. So tomorrow I'll go back up high, but I'm trying to drink enough water today. It feels like it's in the 70s, but that's pretty warm for out here. But it's gorgeous, look at that. I've encountered several of these stop gates in the Sierra. Whenever you find them, you gotta make sure you close them back up when you're done. First people I've seen today. Right at the junction of BCT. I volunteered earlier this year for a work week with the Yosemite Conservancy, and I helped do trail repairs, and we built some log checks similar to this, so it's kind of cool to come down and see where they've been put in place by a different trail crew. Getting my first look at Whitney here. Well, if you count this day instead of the summit of Langley. So here is the summit of Whitney right there. And then you can see some of the windows and the needles right along here. The trail goes along this and then switchbacks up the back side there. So I'll get to hike up there tomorrow morning. I'm excited to see it again. Lucky fishes live in here. I'm just getting into Guitar Lake. It was a nice hike today. Kind of hard. It's always kind of hard going from Crabtree up here, especially when you lose a bunch of altitude and then have to gain it back again. There's something about that that just makes you sad. But it's really beautiful. I am excited to camp at Guitar. I'm not going to leave at 2 in the morning, maybe more like 4 in the morning. It's still really, really dead out here. There are not very many people. I've seen 3 people today. So it's oddly quiet. I thought once I got to the PCT and the JMT that there would be a lot more people, but that just hasn't been the case. So I wonder where everybody is. sneaky climb. Cool stuff. There's Mt Langley right over there. Look all fluffered up. You're kind of right in my way. So I'm gonna sneak by. Sort of seems like you don't care. Hey cuties.